Namaste. Welcome to read Dnyaneshwari Along with me. We're going to begin with chapter 18. After praising and praying his Guru, Dnyaneshwar begins to summarize the first chapters. So far, he had he begins, Sir, this is a spire of the palace of jewels of Geeta, made of which stone of meaning. It is the guide showing you all of Geeta. When people see the spire from the distance, they believe they have met the deity inside the temple. The same is true here. The distance they believe they have met the deity. The same is true here. With this only one chapter, one can see the whole meaning of Geeta. For this reason, I say the 18th chapter is the spire Vyas had erected on temple of Geeta. When one builds the spire, nothing remains in construction of temple. The same Geeta is declaring the end. Vyas was a born poet. On the mountain of jewels of Vedas, he started digging on the bad lands of the commentaries. There, a lot of trash in the form of man's three achievements, religious, financial and sexual, was removed. Out of it, he built the stone wall of Mahabharata around the temple of Geeta. He removed an unbroken stone of self-knowledge. He polished it with the dialogue of Sri Krishna and Arjuna, using the plumb line of retirement, adding the supplement of entire Vedic sciences. He set it to outline liberation. Thus, while constructing in the first 15 chapters, from purification of land up to completion of 15th, the temple was completed up to the terrace. The 16th chapter on the top is the bell-shaped neck. The 17th is the place for base of the spire. On it is the 18th chapter, like an easily erected spire. On that stands Vyas like a flag because of Geeta and other works. So, chapters described before, they are forms increasing in size. This shows the completion of that work in its contents. The work done so far is not lacking anything. The work of spire proves that. Thus, 18th chapter describes entire Geeta from the beginning to the end. Thus, Vyas, the craftsman, for the sake of liberation, by creating the temple of Geeta, had protected beings in many ways. Some walk around the temple from outside. A few others enjoy the shadow of temple by listening. Many others enter into the inner chamber of meaning of knowledge of this temple after offering a penny with betel leaves of attention. Those with self-knowledge immediately meet Sri Hari, Vishnu, in the form of soul. But here everyone gets divine grace equally well. In a wealthy house at dinner table, same food is served to rich and poor. Like that, liberation is achieved here by listening, understanding and chanting Geeta. Understanding this difference. Thus I said, Geeta is a temple for Vishnu's devotees and the 18th chapter is its spire. Now, after 17th, how did the 18th chapter arrive? That connection I shall describe as seen by the eyes, without breaking both forms of woman and man. Only one body is seen, in the form of God, half woman and half man. Or, when you observe two streams the water of Ganges and Yamuna look different, but the water as such of both is the same. The disk of moon increases every day, but on full moon day, the different layers of the different phases are not seen. Like that, one stanza has 4 lines, but it breaks in lines. Also, one stanza is written separate from second, making many in one chapter. When one chapter ends, the second starts. Thus, it appears to have many chapters. But that doesn't make the problem discussed many. Though a necklace has many jewels, there is only one string. Threading many pearls, you make a single strand of necklace. Though made of many, the beauty of necklace is one. The flowers and strings in a garland can be counted, but you can't use fingers to count its fragrance. Like that, understand our stanzas and chapters in Geeta. One meaning is present in all, written into 700 stanzas and 18 chapters. But what God told is only one thing, nothing else. I also, without breaking continuity, discuss the book. In the same way, you listen the present chapter. In 17th chapter, while making its end in the last stanza, God was saying, whatever actions are done without faith in the name of Supreme Spirit, they all go to the west. On listening these words of God, Arjuna nodded. He said to himself, I think that believing in action, God considers inferior. That poor, blinded due to ignorance, if he can't see the God, so omniscient, then how can he know his name and understand the next things like faith depending on it? Understand next things like faith depending on it, and the faith without driving out dominance and will, which is inferior, how could it get fixed to the Supreme Spirit? Then to embrace the tip of a weapon, or walking in a robe, or playing with a sea cobra, even these actions will be defeated. Like this, the actions done without faith are harmful. They lead to another birth. They carry these bad after effects. Or accidentally, if the action is performed in the right way, then the performer becomes the knowledge. If not, he goes to hell. Thus, so far, there are many obstructions for doing an action. Then how would performer go to the liberation? So this poverty of action should go. All actions should get abandoned and faultless detachment should get accepted. Where there is no fear of bondage to the action, that knowledge of self, how one would get, which are the links inviting knowledge, the field growing knowledge very well, the fibers of thread attracting knowledge, that detachment and abandonment, following them, the world should get out of bondage of action. I shall ask God to clarify this. Thinking thus, when Arjun asked the question, so as to learn about detachment and abandonment, clear and separate. Then to answer this, the speech Sri Krishna made that is expressed in the 18th chapter. Thus, like one who is born gives birth to the other. This chapter arises out of the previous. Now listen to what Arjuna asked. Then that son of Pandu understood the end of God's speech and he got depressed in the mind. About the principle he had really come to the decision. But God was quiet. He could not tolerate that. A calf doesn't want cow to go away, even after his stomach is filled. Unparalleled love is like this. Because of this, we want to speak for no reason, want to see again and again after meeting once. One who enjoys the enjoyment doubles, the craving in his mind. The love is like this. Arjuna is an icon of love, so he was regretting the silence of God. Like we see ourselves in a mirror, through dialogue we can enjoy. The thinking of that cannot be dealt with, seen, read, or heard. If that dialogue stops, then the experience of Supreme Spirit will end. How Arjun, addicted to that pleasure, will tolerate this? So, taking the occasion of asking about detachment and abandonment, Arjuna made to unroll that cloth of Geeta for the second time. This is not the 18th chapter, it is entire Gita in one chapter. When a calf catches udders how much time the cow will make to secrete milk, like that he made to reopen the beginning when it was about to end. The dialogue between a disciple and mentor, what it would not do. Let us leave this. Arjuna is thus asking. He says, Hey, King of Universe, listen to my request. Sir, detachment and abandonment are related with one meaning. Like assembly and organization talk about people grouping together. Abandonment and detachment. With these both words, abandonment is told. Thus, I understand in my mind. Thus, if there is difference in these two, God should explain that. On this, Sri Krishna said, both are different. Hey Arjuna, you thought in your mind both have one meaning. I also take it as true in a way. In fact, abandonment, that is desertion, and detachment, both words certainly denote abandonment. But the reason for the difference in the meaning is, hey Arjuna, not to do any action at all. Such desertion is called detachment. When you perform action and abandon its fruit, that is called abandonment or real desertion. I think we'll stop here. Come again for the next session. Thank you very much for joining me today. Namaste.